My stepmother's name flashes across my phone for the 5th time. I watch it buzz against the polished walnut surface of my kitchen counter, a far cry from the dented aluminum table where I used to eat dinner in rural Idaho. Outside, the late afternoon sun gleams over the San Francisco Bay, casting golden ripples across the water. I'm 28 now, 2,000 miles and a lifetime away from the home where I learned to shrink myself. I hover over ignore again. The phone stills. 3 seconds later, a new email pings. From Elise Vaughn. Subject, Lena's wedding, final request. My stomach tightens. I click it open, eyes scanning over the text, though the words blur until only the last line stands out. Lena's wedding is the most important event of her life. Be there, or be cut off from this family for good. A voicemail notification pops up. I press play, put it on speaker, and listen as Richard's commanding voice fills the silence. Morgan, it's Richard. I don't know what stunt you think you're pulling, but this is over the line. Your sister's wedding is in 10 days, and the weekend celebrations start Friday. If you can't set aside your drama for Lena's big moment, then don't bother expecting any more help from us. Your stepmother's sick with worry. Call me back. A humorless laugh escapes me. I cross the room and open the coat closet. From behind a stack of shoe boxes and heavy jackets, I pull out a thin wooden frame wrapped in bubble wrap. Morgan Elise Vaughn. Bachelor of Computer Science, Stanford University. Summa cum laude. I run my fingers across the gold embossed letters. I haven't hung it yet. Old habits die hard. Especially the ones where I don't make myself too visible, too proud, too much. My phone buzzes again. From Karen Vaughn. Text, please call your father. He's getting frustrated. I glance at the calendar on the fridge. A glaring red block surrounds the next 2 weeks, Lena's wedding extravaganza, 14 days of designer brunches, matching gowns, staged photo ops, and teary rehearsals, all curated for Instagram. I open my banking app. $142,731.19. More than enough to never need their money again. They just don't know it yet. My mind drifts back, 3rd grade. Clutching a straight-A report card. Karen barely glanced up from her iPad. That's nice, Morgan. That same night, the living room roaring with applause as Lena showed off her outstanding effort ribbon from a class poetry contest. She's so expressive, Richard beamed. The judges loved her delivery. I sat in the hallway, invisible. Sophomore year, I won a statewide coding competition, 1st place. My parents missed the awards banquet for Lena's cheerleading finals. She fell during a pyramid formation. They told that story like it was an Olympic tragedy for years. Senior year, I got into Stanford. Full scholarship. I shook holding the acceptance letter. I'd worked 3 jobs, taught myself Python, built an app from scratch. Karen frowned. Honey, are you sure? Lena might feel like you're leaving her behind. Community college has already been hard enough on her. Richard didn't even lower his newspaper. We've talked about this. You'll attend City Tech. No need to go across the country to prove a point. The quiet war that followed was full of polite dinners and fake smiles. I agreed to enroll at City Tech. I let them believe they'd won. 3 months later, I left home with 2 suitcases and a one-way ticket to San Francisco. A fabricated paper trail of online classes kept their questions at bay. I built my life from scratch. And now they wanted me back, for a wedding I was never truly invited to, only expected to decorate with my presence. I step outside onto my apartment's tiny balcony. Fog curls off the water in the distance. I breathe it in, crisp and clean. They still see me as the quiet one. The one who never makes waves. But they forgot one thing, I've been building something while they watched Lena shine. I don't need their applause anymore. Just my own voice saying, I made it. The fake registration. The phony dorm assignment. It was a calculated risk, my first taste of real independence. I remember how my heart pounded as I boarded that bus all those years ago, clutching forged enrollment papers and a duffel bag full of borrowed clothes. Now, I stand in the soft glow of my bathroom mirror, a long way from that terrified girl. My reflection shows someone they wouldn't recognize, poised, self-assured, successful. No longer the invisible daughter. Back at my desk, I run my fingers over the name etched into the gold foil of my diploma. Morgan Elise Vaughn. Bachelor of Computer Science, Stanford University. Summa cum laude. Beneath it sits a business card from my office. Morgan Vaughn, Senior Product Analyst, $135,000 per year. Invisible no more. I open my laptop and navigate to the airline website. My fingers glide over the keyboard, calm and precise, booking a first-class flight back home. Not to please them, but to show them. Time they finally see me, I whisper, catching my reflection in the dark screen. My suitcase is packed like a blueprint, every fold intentional. The diploma is tucked between layers of silk and cashmere. As I zip it closed, a small, quiet smile pulls at my lips. I imagine their faces when they realize the version of me they dismissed was the one who made it. Have you ever had to hide your success from the very people who should have been your biggest supporters? What would you do if your family only seemed to value you when they needed something? My homecoming isn't just a return, it's a reckoning. The rental car crunches down familiar gravel. My old house looms ahead, now transformed into something out of a bridal catalog. Ivory fabric swags cling to porch columns. Cascades of white roses line the walkway. This wedding is an event, a production, a performance. The door swings open before I can even knock. Karen, my stepmother, greets me. Her hair is dyed to a magazine-perfect honey blonde, lips painted to match her heels. Morgan, finally, she says, hugging me like a stiff mannequin. So glad you decided to support your sister. The word support sours in my stomach. Inside, the scent of vanilla candles battles fresh paint. Every surface is buried in floral samples, calligraphy menus, and champagne buckets. The house feels more like a boutique hotel than the place I grew up. Richard appears from his study, glasses sliding down his nose. Good. You're here. No greeting, no hug. Just a clipboard shoved into my hands. Programs need folding. These welcome bags have to be done before 4. Chloe's counting on you. I blink. I just walked through the door. And now you have something useful to do. Chloe's voice cuts through the house. She stands at the top of the staircase, phone pressed to her ear. No, I said cascading. Not gathered. Cascading. It's literally ruining everything. She catches sight of me, holding up one perfectly manicured finger, the universal sign for wait. This is the most important day of my life, she says into the phone before gliding down the stairs. She air kisses somewhere near my cheek. Thank God, she breathes. The caterer's threatening to walk, and Mom is absolutely useless with the seating chart. Nice to see you too, Chloe. Elliot's planning a surprise for the reception. It has to match everything else perfectly. Elliot? Karen swoops in. Her fiancé. You'll meet him at dinner. Brilliant man. Real visionary. Crypto millionaire, Chloe adds, chin lifted with pride. At exactly 6:30, Elliot Brady arrives. He's carrying a bottle of imported wine and wearing the kind of polished confidence that comes from money, new money, specifically. The mysterious sister finally appears, he says, gripping my hand a little too firmly. Chloe said you're some kind of tech genius hiding out in the city. Product analyst, I say simply. Sounds intense. He winks. I've got a couple buddies building an AI trading platform. Really next-gen stuff. We should talk shop sometime. I force a smile and sit down. During dinner, he dominates the table, tossing around names of exclusive crypto deals and phrases like token volatility and portfolio decentralization. My parents nod eagerly like they understand. Chloe beams like she's engaged to Elon Musk. They don't ask me a single question. But that's okay. Because tomorrow, I'm going to show them exactly who I've become, and why I never needed their seat at the table. Opportunities. That's all my father hears when Elliot speaks. He's hanging on every word, nodding like a student at a master class. So, which exchanges do you primarily trade on? I ask during one of the few silences at the table. Elliot's smile falters, just a flicker. Most wouldn't catch it, but I'm trained to watch for patterns that break. Oh, a mix, he says smoothly. Mostly private platforms. Exclusive access through my network. Fascinating, I say. And your company is based where, again? We're decentralized, he replies without missing a beat. That's the beauty of blockchain, right? I've got partners in Singapore, Zurich, Dubai, global reach. My father shoots me a look over his wine glass, tight and warning. Morgan, not everyone wants to talk business at dinner. Later that night, I'm in his study looking for the wedding programs he mentioned when I stumble upon something else, refinancing paperwork. My eyes scan the document. 3 weeks ago. A second mortgage. On the house that was nearly paid off. My heart drops. Voices drift in from the dining room. Lawrence, are you sure about this second mortgage? My stepmother's voice, edged with concern. That's everything for my inheritance too, she adds, lower now. I just, $150,000 is a lot. Elliot guaranteed 20% minimum returns, my father replies, irritation creeping in. You wouldn't understand. This is how real wealth is made. I lean against the wall, my mind racing. A second mortgage. Family savings. Potential inheritance. All flowing toward Elliot and his suspiciously vague crypto scheme. My analyst instincts scream. The math doesn't hold. The logic is off. He's a fraud. I find Aunt Helen out in the garden, standing among the hydrangeas she planted for the wedding. You see it too, I say. She nods slowly, her eyes, sharp and clear, like mine, reflecting concern. He's charming, but too slick. Your father won't hear it. Said I was jealous of his success. She leans closer. Remember Mr. Wilson down the street? Lost $80,000 last year in an exclusive investment opportunity. Sounded awfully familiar when I heard about Elliot's pitch. Morgan, a voice calls from the fence. I turn. Mr. Thomas, my old science teacher, waves. I've been following your career, he says. That Chicago data science program you attended, top tier. I'm proud of you. I blink. How did you? Unlike your parents, he smiles, some of us actually pay attention. Helen pats my hand. And for the first time since I arrived, I feel something solid beneath me, recognition. That evening, I gather my parents in the living room. We need to talk about Elliot. My father doesn't look up from his paper. What about him? I've been reviewing what he said. There are inconsistencies. His investment strategies don't align with actual crypto market behavior. My mother sighs. Honestly, Morgan. You've always been a little jealous of your sister's happiness. This isn't about jealousy, I say, trying to stay calm. His math doesn't make sense. His platforms don't exist in the way he claims. There's no corporate registry. His ROI guarantees aren't just improbable, they're illegal. My father finally lowers the paper. His eyes are hard. You don't understand business at this level, Morgan. Not everything fits into your little spreadsheets. The front door opens. Chloe enters with Elliot. She stops, sensing the tension immediately. What's going on? Your sister has some concerns about Elliot's business, my father says. Chloe's eyes narrow. Are you serious? You show up after 3 years and try to ruin the only good thing in my life? Elliot wraps an arm around her shoulders. It's okay, babe. Not everyone understands innovation. I look at them, my father, so eager to believe, my stepmother, anxious but silent, Chloe, defensive and desperate to be adored, Elliot, all charm and calculation. And I understand something with painful clarity. They don't want the truth. They want the story they've sold themselves. Chloe the star. Elliot the genius. And me, the invisible sister, cast in shadow again. But not this time. Because the daughter they never saw is about to show them what she sees, and how much she's willing to risk to protect them. Even if they never thank her for it. Would you risk more rejection to save a family that never appreciated you? That question echoes in my head as I slide into the corner booth at Rosie's coffee shop, the same vinyl seat I occupied while cramming for calculus finals back in high school. The booth still squeaks under my weight, the windows still fog slightly from the espresso machine's hiss, and Margie still runs the place, her apron now a little more faded. But I'm not the same. My laptop glows with open tabs, business registries, crypto forums, archived social media profiles. I've cross-referenced facial recognition plugins and search queries across 4 states. 3 identities look back at me: Ethan Lewis, Edward Lambert, Elliot Lawson. And now? Elliot Lawrence. Same smile. Same pitch. Same scam. Different targets. I sip my black coffee, its bitterness lingering at the back of my throat like the words I've never said to my family. You need a refill, hon? Margie appears beside me, coffee pot in hand. Her eyes catch my screen and widen. That man, she whispers. My cousin lost everything to someone who looked just like him. Went by Edward. Edward something. My spine straightens. Lambert? I ask. She sets the pot down hard. That's it. Edward Lambert. Claimed he ran some investment group. Wooed her, promised the world, skipped town right before the wedding. Took her savings and broke her heart. I open a new browser window. Would she talk to me? 2 hours later, I sit across from a woman in her 50s at a corner table, her fingers trembling around a chipped mug. I thought I was special, Karen whispers. He made me feel seen. Loved. I nod. My sister thinks the same thing. She slides a worn folder across the table. Inside, photographs, withdrawal slips, police reports. The details mirror each other too perfectly. 3 other victims. 3 different states. Offshore transfers. Promises. Disappearances. And always, the same man. I thank her quietly and pack up the evidence. The wedding is 5 days away. When I walk through the front door at home, my mother's voice snaps through the hallway like a whip. Where have you been? She's flanked by 2 florists holding massive white rose arrangements. The air smells aggressively floral. The flowers need approval and Chloe's having a meltdown about the place cards. You've been gone for hours. I glance at my watch. It's barely past noon. I was researching something important. More important than your sister's wedding? She shoves a checklist into my hands. Your father says you've barely helped. And frankly, I agree. The familiar weight drapes itself over my shoulders like an old coat, not enough, never enough. The invisible daughter, now visible only as a target for criticism. I find Chloe in the dining room, surrounded by sample centerpieces, swatches of napkin fabric, and a scattering of tissues. She looks up, her mascara running. The calligrapher used the wrong font, she says, voice raw. Where were you? She snaps. I've been texting for hours. I check. 3 texts. The first sent 40 minutes ago. You always do this, Chloe sniffles. Disappear when I need you. Then show up to make it about you. The line stings with its rehearsed ease. For 23 years, I've somehow managed to be both invisible and overwhelming. I'm trying to help you, Chloe. By skipping out on wedding prep, she glares. By interrogating Elliot like he's some criminal? Her voice climbs. You can't stand that I found someone amazing while you're off in Chicago or wherever, doing some boring tech job and living alone. I bite my tongue against the urge to say it, to throw my title, my salary, my equity shares in her face. Instead, I pick up a place card and examine the wrong font. I can call the calligrapher, I offer. Dad already did. She swipes at her cheeks. At least he supports me. That line lands heavy. But I don't say anything. Not until that evening, when we gather in the living room. Because this time I have something more than opinions. I have proof. Printed. Organized. Verified. And when I lay it all out, the aliases, the testimonies, the transactions, they won't be able to look away. Even if they want to. Screenshots. Bank records. Police reports. Karen's signed statement. They're all spread across the coffee table like puzzle pieces waiting to be assembled. My parents sit frozen on the couch, staring at the evidence. Chloe's curled on the armchair, her cheeks pale and blotchy. Elliot stands at the fireplace, hands clasped lightly behind him, his smile just slightly too perfect. This is clearly a case of mistaken identity, he says. I have a common face. People mix me up all the time. 3 different women, I say evenly, in 3 different states. All with the same story. A man who looks like you. Who used names eerily close to yours. Who disappeared with their money, right before their weddings. Morgan. My father's voice sharpens, warning slicing through the air like a whip. This is absurd. Dad, I say, sliding a photo across the table, look at the pictures. Look at the timeline. Look at the pattern. Elliot glances at the paper with theatrical confusion. I've never seen that woman in my life. That's Karen, I reply. She gave me a statement. She kept the police reports. She gave me copies of her wire transfers. All leading to the same shell company Elliot used. I can't believe you'd go this far to ruin my happiness, Chloe snaps. She's on her feet now, tears running down her cheeks, her voice cracking. You've always been jealous of me. That word hits harder than I expect. Jealous. Like this is about some petty sibling rivalry, not the financial safety of our entire family. I'm trying to protect you, I say. By ambushing my fiancé with lies? Chloe's hands tremble as she snatches the stack of evidence from the table, crumpling pages into her fists. You're so obsessed with proving you're better than me, you'd destroy my wedding to feel superior. Chloe, I say gently, reaching out. The second mortgage. Mom's inheritance. Dad's retirement. All of it is tied to his investment opportunity. Don't you see the pattern? That's enough, my father roars, standing. His face is bright red. You need to leave this house, right now. Elliot places a hand on his shoulder, calm and measured. Lawrence, he says, voice low and soothing. It's all right. She's just concerned for her sister. Misguided, but coming from a good place. The false empathy in his tone makes my skin crawl. I'm not leaving. I straighten, planting both feet firmly. And I'm not the invisible daughter anymore. A stunned silence falls over the room. My mother's eyes narrow. What are you talking about? I take a breath, feeling years of silence loosen all at once. I didn't go to community college, I say. I graduated top of my class from the University of Chicago. I've worked at Tech Fusion for 3 years as a product analyst. I earn a 6-figure salary. I've supported myself completely since I was 18. Their faces shift from disbelief to confusion to something like shame. That's not possible, my father stammers. You said. Check my LinkedIn. Call my office. Email my boss. I'd been someone else entirely for years, I say. While you were too busy pouring every ounce of your attention into your golden child. Chloe sinks into the armchair, her rage faltering. Her hands fall into her lap, fingers still clenched around a torn corner of Karen's statement. I exhale, steadying my voice. This is your last chance to see the truth before it's too late. I gather the evidence, smoothing out the wrinkled pages, reassembling the printed web that exposes him. This man is not who he says he is. The wedding is in 5 days. He always disappears 3 days before, with everything. And for the first time, Elliot's mask slips. It's subtle, a flicker of something cold behind the charm, a glint of calculation. Then it vanishes, replaced by a grin. I think we've all had enough fantasy for one day, he says. My father regains his posture. Morgan. I won't ask again. Leave. I pause, looking at each of them. My father's rigid certainty. My mother's hesitant loyalty. Chloe's fragile denial. And Elliot, polished and practiced and ready to strike. When he disappears with everything you have, I say quietly, gathering my things, remember that someone tried to warn you. The front door creaks open. It feels heavier than it ever did. Like I did when I was 17, sneaking out at night to study in the city library, I leave the house again. But this time I'm not hiding who I am. This time I'm walking away with the truth they refuse to see. Have you ever stood alone in the truth while everyone you love clings to comforting lies? Have you ever had to choose whether to walk away, or keep fighting for a family who refused to hear you? That decision is now mine. And it will change everything. Back in my Chicago apartment 2 days before the wedding, my phone won't stop buzzing. It buzzes across the counter like it's trying to leap into my hands. I flip it over, 17 missed calls. 23 texts. 5 voicemails. I pour another cup of coffee, the steam curling in the golden morning light from the kitchen window. From my 15th floor view, Lake Michigan stretches out in endless blue. I press play on the first voicemail and set it on speaker. Morgan, he's gone. My father's voice cracks, brittle with disbelief. Elliot disappeared last night. Please call us. The second message follows fast behind. The accounts are empty, he says, his tone hollow. Everything. Even your mother's retirement. The third voicemail catches me off guard. The police said without a written contract, there's little they can do. It's my mother. Her voice trembles. They're calling it a civil matter. Please, Maddie, we need you to come home. She hasn't called me Maddie since I was 10. Then Chloe's text glows on my screen. You were right. I didn't listen. Please help us. I trace the rim of my coffee mug with my finger, looking out at the city I built my life in, 15 stories above the ground, and a lifetime away from the house where I was never seen. I call Vivian, my mentor, who picks up on the second ring. You sound troubled, she says instead of hello. They finally believe me about Elliot. I pause. Now that he's gone, with everything, they want my help. Vivian is silent for a moment, her wisdom filling the space like a calm tide. What are you considering? She asks gently. I press my forehead against the cool window glass. I haven't decided yet. Boundaries aren't walls, Morgan, she says. They're doors. You decide when they open, and who walks through. After we hang up, I book a flight home. But this time I only pack for 3 days. When my cab pulls up, the backyard is a graveyard of celebration. The wedding tent is half dismantled. White chairs sit in uneven stacks. The floral arrangements, once meticulously placed, now sag and wilt in the heat. My mother opens the door before I knock. Her face, free of makeup, has aged 5 years in 2 days. You came, she breathes. Her arms hover like she wants to hug me, but I don't move forward. Inside, my father paces the living room with his phone. He hangs up when he sees me. His eyes drift to the watch on my wrist, the structured handbag I place carefully on the table. We thought, perhaps you might be able to help. He clears his throat. Financially. Just until things stabilize. The Hendersons, the club board. Your father's treasurer, my mother whispers, wringing her hands. Chloe's curled on the couch in one of my old high school t-shirts, probably pulled from my childhood closet. Her eyes are swollen. Her voice lacks venom, but the familiar note of blame clings to her words. If you'd been more supportive, I might have listened. I take off my coat and place it over the arm of the chair. The living room feels smaller than I remember. The walls are still cluttered with Chloe's dance photos, trophies, and framed high school programs. No trace of me. You didn't listen because you didn't want to, I say gently. None of you did. They're quiet. I'm not here to fix this, I continue. I'm here because I needed you to see what happens when you silence the person who tells you the truth. Chloe looks down, her hands knotted in her lap. So, what now? My father asks. I breathe deeply. Now you do what I did at 18, I say. Figure it out. Start again. I turn toward the door, pausing only once. I'll always care about you. But I won't carry the weight you placed on me anymore. And as I step outside, into a bright, clear morning, I finally feel free. Trophies. Dance medals. Group photos with Chloe at the center. But not a single trace of my academic achievements. No ribbons for state science fairs. No plaque for top of the class. No photo of me in a cap and gown. Just a wall curated to remember one daughter. I can help with some things, I say, voice steady. Not all. My father straightens, sensing a shift. Morgan, as your father. I cut in. I can help you file police reports properly. I can contact my colleague who specializes in financial fraud recovery. I know a lawyer who's handled crypto scams like this. I count each offer on my fingers. But I cannot replace the money you lost. The silence stretches. My mother starts to speak, but I keep going. I make 6 figures. I have substantial savings. And I will not sacrifice my financial security to rescue you from a situation I explicitly warned you about. My father's face reddens. This family supported you your entire life. A short, unexpected laugh escapes me. Did you? We put a roof over your head. Food on the table. That's the legal minimum, Dad. Chloe shifts, uncurling herself from the couch. Her voice is shaky. So you're just going to abandon us after being right? That's what matters to you? Being right? I meet her gaze. For once, there's no heat in it, just exhaustion. What matters to me is being respected. Being heard. I exhale. You need me now. But you've never wanted me. There's a difference. My mother sinks into a chair like her bones have given out. How can you be so cold? The words slip before I can catch them. I learned from experts. And then, for the first time, they all really look at me. Not through me, not past me, but at the woman who built herself alone. Who kept going without their praise or approval. These are my boundaries, I say, voice quiet but unwavering. I'll help you legally. I'll stay for 3 days. I will not empty my savings account. I will not co-sign any loans. I pause. Those are my terms. My father opens his mouth. Closes it. Tries again. When did you become this person? When you weren't looking. Is it our obligation to help family when they've treated us poorly? Or is setting limits the ultimate act of self-respect? What conditions would you set, if the people who ignored you now needed you to save them? My father begins pacing the living room, each step heavy on the floorboards I used to tiptoe across. The weight of his presence used to shrink me. Not anymore. As head of this family, he begins, squaring his shoulders, I've always made decisions with everyone's best interests in mind. He turns to me. This situation requires a united front. I perch on the edge of the armchair, the same one I used to curl up in with books, trying to disappear. I'm not hiding anymore. My mother fidgets, her wedding ring clicking nervously against her knuckles. Blood is thicker than water, Morgan. Surely you understand that by now. And then Chloe's voice breaks through. Her mascara is smeared, her eyes red. You always thought you were better. The words land softly, almost like a confession. Not an accusation. Not this time. Perfect Morgan, she continues, her voice small. With her big city life and fancy job. You got everything. I glance at my watch. 27 minutes. That's how long they've been at this. Coordinated pressure. Guilt. Emotional warfare, dressed up in grief. The same tactics that used to make me fold like the paper dolls Chloe and I played with as kids. She got the pretty dresses. I got the torn scraps. When I was 8, I say quietly, I won the district spelling bee. You told me you couldn't come, Dad had a big meeting. I looked directly at my father. I raised my hand and saw you both at Friendly's after. With Chloe. Celebrating her field day participation ribbon. The silence thickens, like August heat. In 10th grade, I continue, my science project on agricultural runoff won state recognition. You weren't there. Because Chloe had a choir concert. Where she sang in the back row. My mother turns away. I stopped asking after that. The room feels hollow. Heavy. But finally, honest. And maybe that's the only kind of family I'm willing to come home to. You chose the concert. My voice is calm, but every word lands like stone on glass. At my high school graduation, you left right after the ceremony. Because Chloe had a prom date and needed help with her hair. Across the room, the grandfather clock ticks, slow, rhythmic, like it's counting seconds of truth finally spoken. Christmas, 2020, I continue. I spent weeks picking out thoughtful gifts for each of you, based on things you'd said throughout the year. You gave me a generic gift card, with the wrong name on it. My mother's gaze drops to her lap. My father stares at the floor, lips pressed in a hard, bloodless line. The front door creaks open. Aunt Helen steps in, framed by the afternoon light, her purse clutched like a shield. I saw it all, she says, voice unsteady, but firm. Every recital you missed. Every award you brushed off. I watched this child wilt while you fawned over her sister. My father stiffens, face flushed crimson. This is family business, Helen. I am family, she replies, unwavering. And someone in this room needs to acknowledge what happened in this house. I rise from the chair. And in that moment, I realize just how tall I am, how much space I can take up when I stop trying to shrink. I'll help with the house, I say, my voice filling the room that once made me feel so small. I'll cover the second mortgage. I'll arrange to consolidate the credit card debt. Relief flashes across their faces, quick, unguarded. But I see it. The calculation. The hope. I cut it short. But I won't help your reputation. My words land hard. I won't pretend Chloe wasn't conned by a man any basic background check could have flagged. I won't lie to your neighbors or the country club about where the money went. I meet their eyes, one by one. And I won't let you parade me around as the dutiful daughter who swooped in to save the day. My father bristles. You don't get to dictate terms in my house. I do, I say evenly, when I'm the one with the means to save it. The words surprise even me. They taste sharp. Powerful. Right. My assistance comes with protections. Legal ones. Everything will be documented. You won't have direct access to the funds. I pause. Think of it as a business transaction, not a family bailout. My mother flinches. We're not some charity case, Morgan. No, I say. You're not. Charity doesn't come with requirements. This does. I open my briefcase and pull out 3 copies of a document. My lawyer helped me draft them last night. The crisp paper whispers as I place each copy on the coffee table. This outlines the terms of my financial assistance. One-time solution. Not an ongoing relationship. The second mortgage will be paid directly to the bank. The credit card consolidation will go through a financial advisor I've already vetted. My father scoffs. This is ridiculous. But his eyes drift to the documents. He's already scanning the fine print. The second page, I say, tapping it, includes an acknowledgement clause. It states that for years, you consistently favored one child over the other. That your behavior created an environment of emotional neglect. My mother gasps. We would never sign something like that. Then I'll leave, I reply simply. And you can explain to the bank why you can't make next month's payment. Silence. Only Chloe's ragged breathing breaks the stillness. My father reaches for his glasses. His hands shake. You've become hard, he says. No, I reply. I've become honest. I remain standing. The world didn't break me. Neither did you. But I won't pretend anymore. He reads in silence. His pen hovers above the signature line. For a moment, I think he might refuse. Then, he signs. 10 minutes later, 3 signatures mark the page. I pull out my phone and type a message to my financial advisor. Proceed with the arrangements. Release the funds per the agreement. Then I make a call. Miss Ellison? I say when she picks up. I'm ready to close on the Lakeview condo. Let's finalize it this week. Winters, we're proceeding with Plan A. Yes, the full arrangement. I listen as Rachel confirms. The documentation has been signed. You'll receive copies within the hour. I end the call and turn back to my family, all of them watching me in awkward silence. Rachel Winters is a certified financial advisor who specializes in family debt restructuring, I explain. She'll contact you tomorrow to begin the process. My father starts to object. This isn't negotiable, I say, voice firm. She'll ensure the mortgage gets paid. The creditors will be handled properly. The money will never pass through your personal accounts. Their expressions vary: resentment, resignation, exhaustion. I gather my things without drama, no tearful embraces, no promises to stay in touch. I hope you find peace with your choices, I say, adjusting the strap of my bag and checking my phone. On the porch, Aunt Helen follows, her eyes filled with quiet worry. Will you be all right? The afternoon sun spills across the street I used to walk as a girl, waiting on cold mornings for a school bus, dreaming of escape. I already am. I walk to the rental car, back straight, steps measured. In the rearview mirror, the house shrinks behind me, smaller with each turn. But I don't look back. Some bridges can't be rebuilt. Some shouldn't be. Sunlight filters through the bay windows of my home office, warm and golden, casting long rectangles across the maple desk where I've arranged my life with intention. My Chicago apartment is gone, traded for this restored craftsman bungalow on the north side. A home with history. A home that holds me. It's been 1 year since I walked away from the Vaughn family and their endless drama. My diploma now hangs centered on the wall, no longer hidden behind coats, no longer secret. Morgan Elise Vaughn. Bachelor of Science in Data Science, summa cum laude. My laptop chimes. An incoming video call from Layla, the third student in my mentorship program for first-generation college women. Her face beams as the screen lights up. They asked why I deserved the scholarship more than others, she says, her dark hair tucked behind one ear. And for the first time, I didn't downplay myself. I told them exactly what I planned to do, with confidence. I lean forward. Her smile widens. They called an hour ago. I got it. You earned it, I tell her gently. There's a difference. After the call, I step into the backyard. Spring has coaxed soft green shoots from the soil I've tended for months. My fingers graze the tender tomato leaves, tiny, but determined. They will grow strong here. Unlike the withered roots I left behind. A folded letter sits on my patio table, its edges smoothed from frequent handling. Dr. Chen's writing is neat and measured. 1 year of weekly sessions documented. Patient demonstrates significant progress in setting and maintaining healthy boundaries. Recognition of inherent value now separate from need for family validation. Every Wednesday afternoon still belongs to the community center, where I teach financial literacy to young women. We cover everything from budgeting to spotting financial scams. Last week, Tanya, a sharp 17-year-old with a quiet fire, told me how she recognized the red flags of a pyramid scheme targeting her mother. I remembered what you said, she told me, wiping her eyes. I showed her the numbers don't add up. She didn't just speak the truth. She stood in it. My phone buzzes. Aunt Helen's monthly update. Your father and mother are still struggling to refinance. Chloe's working part-time at the local bank. She's going to therapy twice a month now. No contact attempts. Just so you know, the boundary is still being respected. I nod to myself. The line holds. It's not made of anger. It's made of self-respect. The garden timer chimes. Time to get ready for tonight. The community center auditorium fills slowly, but steadily. Rows of seats for girls like I used to be, brilliant, overlooked, underestimated. But no longer invisible. Because now, they have someone who sees them. And someone who teaches them to see themselves. Applause rises as I step toward the podium. The mentorship program I founded, built for first-generation college students, has just been honored for its measurable impact. The award feels substantial in my hands, the weight of glass and brushed metal catching the light. Solid. Real. I pause before speaking, scanning the crowd. No empty chairs. No space reserved for parents who never showed up. Instead, I see Dr. Chen, nodding from the third row with quiet encouragement. Mrs. Grayson, my neighbor, beams proudly. She's the one who brings me heirloom tomato seedlings every spring. Colleagues from work sit together, clapping, the same ones who value my mind not as a tool but as a force. And friends, real friends, who ask how I'm doing and actually listen. When I started this program, I thought I was helping others find what I never had. A pause. But what I discovered was this: worth doesn't come from external validation. It grows from within, when we truly learn to see ourselves. Back home, I open my laptop. A few final touches on the Vaughn Visibility Scholarship, named not in honor of the family that failed to see me, but for the legacy of making others feel visible. The essay prompt reads: describe a time your contributions went unrecognized, and how you maintained your sense of value. A new notification pops up. Sasha, my first mentee, now finishing her master's degree, writes: you saw me when no one else did. That changed everything. As twilight softens the edges of the day, I water my garden, slow and steady. The tomato plants stand tall beside peppers, zucchini, and herbs, each seed chosen, planted, nurtured by hands that know their own strength. The breeze rustles through the leaves like a whispered approval. I kneel beside the rose bush I pruned down to bare stems last fall. Now it's bursting with new growth, stronger, deeper rooted. Some things grow stronger when cut back, I whisper, brushing a leaf with my fingertips. A quiet smile rises. Because here, in this space I shaped with intention and grit. I'm not just seen. I am undeniably visible. And I always will be. Underscore 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 underscore. If you've made it to the end of my story, thank you. Truly. It wasn't easy for me to walk away from a family that only saw me when they needed something. But I realized that protecting my peace meant drawing boundaries, even when it hurt. Especially when it hurt. I'm sharing this not because I want sympathy, but because I know I'm not alone. Maybe you've been the invisible one too, the responsible one, the achiever, the quiet fighter in the background. Maybe your worth has been measured only in what you could provide. Maybe, like me, you reached a point where being the good daughter meant losing yourself. So here's what I've learned. You are allowed to set boundaries without apology. You are allowed to say no, even to people you love. And most importantly, your value is not conditional. If this story resonated with you, drop a comment. I'd love to hear, have you ever felt invisible? What did it take for you to finally be seen? Or are you still finding your voice? Either way, I see you. And you matter. Please support this message by liking, sharing, or tagging someone who needs to hear it. And if you want to see more stories about resilience, boundaries, and the kind of growth that comes from deep truth, subscribe and stay connected. Because healing doesn't always come from reconciliation. Sometimes, it comes from recognition, starting with yourself. And if you're in the process of planting your own roots somewhere new, I hope you give yourself the time, care, and sunlight you've always deserved. We don't have to be who they told us we were. We get to become who we decide to be. Let's talk in the comments. I'm listening.